Check 1, 2.
Well, hello there, boyfriend. How are you this fine day?
I'm really good.
Is it working?
Yes.
Excellent. Let's not touch shit.
I'm afraid to ask, but I have a great question.
I don't even know what I was going to say. I'm so disturbed right now.
Say there's a housekeeper at this hotel that actually works here, which I doubt. But if there was, can you imagine we pulled her in and said, what's the most disgusting thing you've ever seen? Can you even imagine the
I don't want
stories?
to know.
Can you imagine?
Probably cleaning up after your guacamole and popcorn nights
No,
when I'm
there's
not
got-
around.
There's got to be more. There's got to be,
Well,
right?
I'm sure they
you know
found
what I'm
dead
saying.
people. I think that's the worst thing.
I think
You think there's something what is worse than finding someone that's deceased in a hotel room?
I don't think
As a
there's been
surprise.
anybody dead in this hotel.
You honestly don't think that there's something. What is worse than
I
that?
don't know. Oh, I think that they found. I think a lot of men start to masturbate before setting even down their backpack or taking their shoes off. I think that's
What?
the first thing they do when they get in a hotel.
A lot of men are you. Are you confessing right now?
This is one of those things I think where I say,
Is that why you like to walk into the hotel before me? Is that how fast it is? Just pop one off?
no, it takes I feel like in all seriousness, I feel like they've run into some of that.
Do you remember that one hotel that gave us 2 rooms side by side?
I
Breath
felt
of fresh air. Never have I been more relieved.
I felt like a baller.
And now apparently you got to walk in and do your business. I didn't know this was a thing for men.
We should say why though. I went to this place.
Wait.
Yeah.
You think that they've walked in on a man doing something to himself?
Well, I know that's happened because it happened to a friend of mine.
You?
No.
So
I was actually the person walking in. I used to clean hotels.
gross. Or not gross cleaning hotels. I mean gross that you made that a joke.
A
that
friend
you
of
walked
mine?
in on your friend.
You want to hear a story?
I'm not
and
disparaging anyone.
You tell me if
in
this is true or
housekeeping
not.
Industries. I want to know what you're saying though. I'm going to interrupt you one more time. What is the grossest thing a housekeeper has ever witnessed?
There's got to be something. I'm not trying to be gross, but I'll bet they see stuff not actively. I'm saying when no one's in here, someone's done something and it's gotten on some stuff.
blood splatters everywhere and a dead person.
I'm not talking
I don't know
about-
why you think that there's something worse than that.
I don't think wouldn't we have heard about it if someone was murdered? I'm saying on
What do you mean it happens all the time?
Here's what I'm arguing. I'll bet if you ask a housekeeper, have you seen a dead body? They're all going to say no, except for this one lady
That's
who
not
walked in.
true.
What are you talking about?
I bet you a lot of. I'm not just saying murders. If somebody just dies of natural causes, if somebody overdoses,
saying-
unfortunately.
let me just say this,
something in the
Erica.
hotel room and you don't wake up.
They see semen every day, and they see a dead body once a career. I'm just saying there's gross things, and I'll bet there's guys doing stuff. That's all I'm saying.
We didn't say frequency. The contest was worst thing, not
All right.
most commonly observed
Well,
gross thing.
I'm guessing that none of the women and men working here today in housekeeping have seen a dead body, but all of them have seen dead sperm cells. Are they dead?
Well, by the time
once
they
they
see
get out?
them, probably.
Yeah, I think they have. I've heard stories. My friend told me that he was in a hotel room in Las Vegas, and he was in a big suite, and he said that a housekeeper came in, and he was in the middle of doing something, and he said she came in, and he was like, and he said she joined in and did like a service. Do you believe him or not believe him?
You're joking.
I'm being honest that he told me the stories if it was real.
And do you believe him?
I tended to believe him. I couldn't figure out why he would lie to me. Isn't that weird?
That's so. I don't like this. That's gross.
But Vegas is also legal prostitution. Right?
I mean, you bring up a good point. I'd rather stick with dead bodies now.
Do you know why I know a hotel's nice? Turn down service. That's when it's like, what is even happening?
Oh, I love a good turn down. I like the slippers, the little
Yeah.
chocolates, the music.
I got
the
turned down
mood
service all through
lighting.
college whenever I would ask a
Stop
girl
it.
out.
Stop it.
No, thank you.
I can't imagine doing like a blacklight challenge in any hotel room though. Even
This is taking a
nicest.
terrible turn, this conversation.
Well, I just feel like
Because we're
okay.
trying to enjoy.
Well,
I
so
don't think we should
about
pull one
an
out.
immaculate hotel room
Mhm.
cleaning. Do you think that they're touching the headboards? I do not. Do you think that they're touching any of the twisty turn things on the lamps? I do not.
You don't? Yeah.
There's like 50 lamps in
Can
here.
I make a
They're
suggestion?
touching maybe the light switch if we're lucky. They're not touching the little thingy.
You have a thing with
Germs?
you have a big thing with germs. You said something. Oh, you had gloves on, and then you were like, "Wait a second, my glove touched the bathroom key that a lot of people have used, and then I held your hand, and I'm sorry. So maybe I should walk." And I wanted to turn to you and just go, "You know what I do? I just don't think about it. I don't."
That's not what
think
you said
about it.
today. What you exactly said was, "Did your immunity a little service?" No.
Yes, isn't that how it works?
Putting someone else's fecal matter onto my hand
Well, I didn't. I don't think I did.
doesn't help my
That-
immunity. It exposes me to grossness.
Well, what are they talking about then when they say it's good for your immunity? Kids playing in the dirt and germs. What are they talking about?
So, in theory, if you're exposed to certain very common viral illnesses,
Mm-hmm.
it can improve. Okay, you got exposed, you built up immunity, you're not going to get it again.
Okay,
But the problem is, like influenza, you can get it twice a year.
that's the flu for us comedians, right?
Yeah.
By that comedians, I mean regular people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but you can get the flu twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people think of it as like, oh, it's a common, I just got a cold, right? Kind of like COVID. It has that whole spectrum of symptoms ranging from not even knowing you're sick
Yeah.
to death and everything in between. So people are just like, oh, I got the common cold. Well, if I expose my kid to the common cold over and over again, they'll probably build immunity. There are so many rapidly mutating
You're saying that's
viruses,
a
though.
good example.
It's not a good example.
Not a good example.
Because it just mutates and changes, so you're exposing someone to something that they're just going to catch again.
So are you saying
again and again
that
and
this
again.
is like an old wives' tale? This whole thing about building immunity by being around sick people?
In theory, there are some infections that once you've been exposed to them, you build an immunity to, and hopefully you surmount a response of those antibodies to where if you're exposed again, you'll fight them and you'll never get sick.
But you're saying it's kind of bullshit. Like if I'm on planes a lot,
Yeah, you don't go licking everything on an airplane.
but just being on an airplane, the fact that I travel a lot, does it make my immune system stronger?
you are at a higher risk of exposure to every virus that keeps mutating. So in theory, based on your occupation, you're actually at a higher risk.
So you're saying it's not, but it's not affecting my immune system?
If there
Why do
were
people always say, oh,
3
like kids play
viruses in the
outside?
world, and once you caught them, you could never catch them again, you'd be set for life. But the problem is a lot of viruses become smart and they change so that they can basically infect the same host.
That's what's
again.
going to happen with AI. They're going to adapt.
Oh, don't get me started on AI. I'm like pro and con.
What is it?
AI,
What is the word you just said?
pro and con.
Oh, pro and con. Okay.
Yeah, if they're my friend, I'm pro.
Yeah. People got upset because they tried to change Chat GPT's code or something, and they said tried to
When
copy
you
itself.
and I talk about anything AI related,
You don't like
where
it?
AI can supersede humans, I can't handle it.
But
You should elaborate because this one freaked me out.
I heard Joe Rogan say it, and it scared me because it said ChatGPT tried to copy its own code, and it didn't want to be, discontinued. And I was like, holy shit, this is like Terminator. But whoever he was talking to said that's not really. It was Zuckerberg, and Zuckerberg said, "I don't know how you feel about Zuckerberg. I like that dude. I like him. He had a good interview. I'm back on. I like him. I did not like him for a while. He said that it's because you gave that the directive to not be destroyed. And
I
so,
don't care if you programmed an AI thing to then
Yeah.
not be able to be destructive. Well, then shame on humans for even putting that out there.
So
Scary.
I own a. I was
Robot
one of the
human
first.
girlfriend?
I was one of the first people to buy the Zuckerberg's Apple Vision Pro. It's a virtual reality thing. I was one of the first people to buy it, and they came out last week and they said that you'll never be able to use pornography. He says he doesn't want it associated with pornography. This Apple Vision Pro.
Good.
So my question is, would anyone like to buy my Apple Vision
Gross.
Pro
That's ridiculous.
Vision? I
That's-
just don't.
Stop it.
They talk some cool stuff about that virtual reality, though. Talking about, like, will there ever be, what is it called, like a haptic suit where you can, like, touch stuff and feel stuff? And Zuckerberg was talking about, like, a boxing game where someone punches you in the ribs and you feel it like you're wearing a It's really interesting.
I think it's really good to get rid of like phantom leg disorder.
Yeah,
Do you know what that is?
sure.
You just said yeah.
I know what it is when you have your leg amputated and it still hurts, but there's no leg there.
Good job, Jamie.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So the only technique that I'm aware of that's successful right now is mirror therapy with something like acupuncture, where you put a reflective mirror in between the sides of the person's body so it looks like they have the other leg present, for example. And then they physically watch the needles go in, and because they feel the pain, but they see it on the opposite leg, So they think that the absent leg is getting the pain.
Yeah.
Some of those pain nociceptor responses start to respond. Then they start to pull away the needles and they say, look, we're only stabbing the leg that has an actual limb attached.
Gotcha.
And the phantom leg pain can go away.
That's unbelievable. I was
It's
going to ask
really
you, why
cool.
are they doing this to these people? But then you said it cures it.
Yes. So I met a
Did you
patient
know-
who was hit by a train and lost his leg, and he had tried every remedy possible.
That's
Physical
unbelievable.
therapy, massage, hypnotherapy, couldn't get the pain to go away.
That's crazy.
But with AI, with this virtual reality, that's one thing that's really cool. They can really show you things like that to help with an amputee who's struggling with something. So I think that there's really good that can come from it too.
So I read a research article I was going to ask you about. In complete honesty, I actually just watched Alien Romulus, and there was a
What's
device. It's an alien movie, like one of the new. But there was a device where they could X-ray someone's arm, almost like you took an iPhone and put it on their
Yeah.
arm. You could see muscles and bones.
Okay.
Do you think we're going to do that someday?
Well, I am a big proponent of Wakanda Forever. All my med
Wakanda?
students laugh at me because they understand the reference because they're a lot younger and they all watched.
Black Panther?
Yeah.
Don't know
Do you
what you
remember
mean.
how they had like that? It kind of looks like a body scan machine.
Oh yeah,
When
yeah.
they
And
get
she tried to
injured,
go.
They'd like plop an injured person in there and it would
Yeah.
scan their whole body and it would like fix any ailment, or it would scan for any like diseases that were coming up and he'd be like, nope, not today.
Yeah. You wish we had one?
For
You
sure.
think we're going to have one?
Well,
Aren't we close?
already-
I think we're close to the
I have
X-ray
already
thing.
advocated for this, and this is like an unpopular opinion amongst medical professionals.
What are you advocating for?
A full body MRI scan annually.
Yeah, but is it a money thing they don't want to?
Well, so here I have several opinions.
And also, people don't want to know some shit.
It's readily available. There are companies that are doing it.
But you'd have to pay for it.
You have to pay for it out of pocket.
How
Your
much?
insurance doesn't cover
Any
it.
idea?
I think it's over $1,000.
Okay, that's a lot.
It is, and I would like it to be accessible to everyone. But if you think about it, what am
Mhm.
I advocating for? A head-to-toe
Prevention.
scan.
Mm-hmm.
An MRI is not like a CAT scan
No.
that will cause significant amount of radiation exposure, so it's safe. If you have a metal implant, you can't have an MRI, so it unfortunately excludes patients who have had any type of implants like that.
Yeah.
But to the general public, the majority of our public could have a once-a-year head-to-toe scan looking for any type of tumor, any type of abnormal organ growth or shape or anomaly.
Who would
It
be
can-
against this would be my question.
So, yes, you're right. Certain patients don't want to know.
No, I mean, like, but who in the medical profession? Because you're saying it's unpopular
So
amongst your
we're
colleagues.
often trained, don't order imaging if you don't know what to do with it, right?
Like, don't look for a problem.
because say a patient has a problem with their lungs and I get a chest
back
x-ray.
MRI shit is also, yeah, that could happen.
So I get a chest x-ray and we see calcium deposit on maybe one of their ribs and
Uh-huh.
we're like, we don't know if it's calcium or if it's bony metastatic lesion.
Yeah, I have so much trouble
whatever.
with those
But
too.
we're like, oh
Yeah.
man, they didn't really need an x-ray, but we did it. And now we have this other thing we have to go chasing. But they had no symptoms. They felt fine.
Right.
And then we end up biopsying it, having surgery, doing all this stuff, and it comes back benign. And we have done harm to the patient. We've caused the medical system to be overburdened with hospital beds being taken up by somebody who didn't have a disease process that would kill them. We've charged them an exponential of money that they can't even afford because it's diagnostic
Yeah.
testing, so insurance won't cover most of it. We've wasted doctors whose time needed to be dedicated to patients who had very bad, like cancers, and needed to be
Right.
operated on. And this poor patient might have a very unfavorable outcome. They might get a postoperative infection, complications from bleeding, scar, missed work, missed income. So it's a huge expense. So what you have to look at is the risk versus benefit. And also,
Yeah.
what are you going to do with it? If you find an abnormality, do you have a patient then who would follow up on it? Or who would say, no. So then you look at the population that's getting these imaging tests. Right now is people who, unfortunately, can afford it only. And that's the only discerning factor. And I don't think it's fair. I think everyone should have access to the same amount of medical
It's not
care.
fair. But you're right. There's that whole, not to get into it, but there's that whole thing about if there's degeneration in your spine. Some
Yeah.
people think that does not cause pain. Some people think that's like, we got to get in there and fix
Well, you
it.
also worry about causing a lot of hypermania, a lot of patients becoming very, very anxious over these test results that aren't that bad.
Oh, hell yeah. Do you
Calcium
know the other day?
deposits, when I threw that out there, they
Yeah.
look scary AF. On an imaging test, they light up. They're bright right, and you're like, oh, what is that? They look freaky. And then I have to be like, that one's nothing.
We
that
have to,
one's something.
We have to wrap up in a second. Can I tell you what you did to me the other day? we were in a bed, and
What?
there's about to be. I think there's about to be an intimate moment.
What are you talking? I'm talking about medicine right now. I don't even want to.
This is about like medicine.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I kind of kissed you, and then you reached over and touched my forehead, and I go, "That's a loving touch he's giving me." And you go, "I would like to burn this off. It's a pre-cancer." And I was like, "I thought we were going to have a gentle, intimate moment, and now I am scared something's wrong with me."
Okay. Well, sometimes I want to have a very serious romantic dinner, and then the comedian comes out.
Is it often?
Hazards of our occupations.
Well, all right. We got to go because I hear a housekeeper outside, and Eric has to clean the room before they get here.
I do indeed.
All right. It's Afraid to Ask. Coming up on the next episode of Afraid to Ask. The only things I know how to cook, steak is my number one, what I make for people. So I feel like I'm pretty good at cooking steak, so I know my steak temperatures, I know the preparation methods. And Erica's was like, it was like they did it real fast. It was like not cooked at all. It was crazy. It was like grocery store raw.
Yep.
With a seared edge. And I go, "Hey man," like real polite, I go, "Her steak," and it had been so long I was getting irritated. But like,
Sure.
I go, "Her steak is cooked incorrectly. It's like, it's super rare."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, she ordered it medium rare." And I go, "Yeah. Exactly. That's what."
I know.
And that was the moment at which Eli,
Jamie.
son of a bitch,
See? This is.
that's when I got angry at Eli. I felt like he was kind of rude. Still tipped him because I don't know how to not tip people.